Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, so this morning I'm excited for our topic today because it's a topic where you kind of have to be farther along in your journey. Well, I don't know that that's true, but sometimes when you're at the beginning of your journey, you're just trying to kind of get out of like crisis mode, essentially, with your family or with yourself, your own thoughts. And so sometimes it's overwhelming to kind of log into the curriculum or do some of the deeper work because there's just kind of so much going on. But this is something that is incredibly helpful for changing your internal framework. And it's something that I make sure I always do. And it's just incredible. So you've probably heard of affirmations before. And affirmations can be beneficial to supplement the internal framework work we do, but we want to do it a specific way so that it is actually effective. So the power of like positive thinking is not something that we usually kind of like focus on because we want to focus on what is. And when we're focusing on the internal framework, we want to be really honest with ourselves about why we're doing what we're doing, because our brain doesn't want to be tricked, essentially. So if I have all of these years of experience where I have been late to everything, if I just jump straight to it's easy for me to be on time, my brain is like, that doesn't mesh with my self-concept. It doesn't mesh with my experience. So my brain isn't going to be able to make that leap. That's why the internal framework is so important, because we can't just like positive think ourselves out of a habit that we've lived with our whole life. But when we pair affirmations with the internal framework work we do, we can do incredible work. So the internal framework work helps you make sense of your past experiences. So for example, let's use the late example. If I've struggled being on time my entire life, first of all, even that is saying it that way is better than saying I can't be on time anywhere, right? Most of the time when we have this pattern that we've seen lived out in all of our experiences, we describe it as I can't, I always, I just, I'll never. We describe it permanently, and that keeps us stuck in our pattern. So even when we say my whole life I've struggled with being late, that is it already a better way to describe it. And through the internal framework work, we can understand, okay, why we do that. Maybe I didn't have the skills, maybe I wasn't taught, maybe I struggle with time management. And so we might have all these skills that we need to work on before we can be the kind of person who gets places on time. So we need to have a clear understanding of why we've been stuck in our patterns, so that our brain can kind of let go of the idea that this is a permanent character flaw. That's all about the internal framework. Do the affirmation, do the internal framework portion. And if you have any questions, let me know. But this part is this is sort of like the final piece for once you've kind of gotten to a good place with your internal framework and you know how to navigate that, you're ready for this piece. So this is affirmations. So when you are working on your self-concept, we want to look forward to our future self and see how she behaves, see how she lives, and see how she shows up. Now, the pain that our habits cause us is because of the gap between where we are living and where we want to be living. So when we are living where we want to be living, there's no pain, there's no resistance, because we are living when we're living according to our self-concept, we are behaving in accordance with that concept. And so our brain is very happy. The problem is, and where guilt and shame come in, is when we are living below what we know we should be, what we want to be. And so the pain that we feel is because of that distance between where I want to be living, my true self that is asking me to live live out greater and where I'm currently living. So when you feel bad about your behavior, it's because of that gap. When you feel bad about your patterns, it's that gap. And so what we're doing with the affirmations is we're calling into existence this future self, and we're saying, hey, brain, let's close this gap. And so when you do affirmations, it can kind of supercharge your growth. So you're working in your daily life, doing the internal framework work. And then what we want to do is we want to put together a set of affirmations about future self from the perspective of future self. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down some of those internal framework struggles that you might have. And then you're going to think about, okay, 2 years from now, me, 6 months from now, me, how does she live? So for example, let's continue to use the late example, right? So if I am writing an affirmation for myself and I've struggled to be late my whole life, I've already done the work of figuring out why I'm late, what skills I need. And every time I'm late or every time I'm struggling with that, I'm already rewiring my brain. Oh, I was late because I didn't, practice my new skill, not because I can't be on time, but because I didn't practice my new skill. I was stuck in my old pattern. I'm still learning how to be on time. I'm still learning how to manage my schedule. I forgot to put it in my calendar. I'm getting better at putting things in my calendar, that sort of thing. Now, where the affirmation comes in is I'm speaking from the point of view of my future self. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to speak as if I have already finished all of that work. And I'm going to write a complete sentence that is from the perspective of myself who has already completed all that work and is already in stage 4, proficiency, aware and skilled. So I'm going to write a statement from my future self from stage 4. And so I might say something like, being on time is easy for me because I've learned to manage my schedule. Managing my schedule is a breeze. And every time I drive somewhere, I feel a sense of calm because I know I've prepared everything I need to for this moment. It's easy for me to get places on time because I have mastered my calendar and I have mastered the skills I need to be on time. So we're going to write all of these affirmations. And so you're going to write them about around your self-concept. You're going to write them around your struggles. So for example, like let's say you struggle with eating junk food when you feel sad, for example. And you want to eat more plants, but when you're feeling sad, you get stuck and you fall off the wagon for a long time, right? So that's your current experience. We know why that happens. We've talked about that. We're in the middle of doing the internal framework work for that, but we're going to speak from the point of view of our future self from stage 4, from proficiency. We might say something like, I love feeding my body with plants and foods that nourish me. It feels so good to eat foods that nourish me, and I love taking care of my body through nourishing foods. I love having a fully stocked fridge of foods that feed me and fuel me and keep me healthy. We're going to write affirmations from our future self from stage 4, and we're going to have an entire list of them. So you're going to talk about, how you're behaving with your kids, how you're behaving with your partner, how you treat yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you're reparenting yourself, how you are carrying yourself, your posture, whatever it is that you want to work on. You're going to think of a sentence that you would say in stage 4 proficiency, and then you're going to write that sentence down. Once you have your list of sentences, then what you're going to do is you're going to make a voice memo, a voice recording on your phone. And you're going to put it in, and you're going to play it either right after you wake up or before you go to bed, because that's when your brain is most open to suggestive things. And you're going to put it on, you're going to repeat doing that until you've outgrown that current set of affirmations. And it's so incredible because I can look back at the different iterations, the different versions of my of my affirmations, I'm like, wow, look at that. When I said that, that sounded like I was so far off. And when I said that, that sounded like I was so far off. But now that's just life. Now that's just my standard of living. Now that's just how I experience life. And so you're going to have to update it, and your affirmations are going to get more and more robust over time. So at first, when you're writing your affirmations, it might, it's a skill you're going to need to get better at writing affirmations. And so at first you might say, like when you think of yourself in stage 4 at whatever skill you're thinking about, your affirmation might be more simplistic, like it's easy for me to be on time, right? That might be what you think of, how you currently think of stage 4. But every time you work on this, you're going to get better and better at writing a more robust affirmation. Like I was talking to a client who struggles to get out and take herself on adventures. And so as she was talking through, I was like helping to put down her affirmation and create an affirmation as I was showing her how to do this. And so she kind of was talking about her doorpost being a barrier for her, and, being nervous about, leaving the house, and, not sure about getting to adventures and things like that. But, her core self is calling her to that. So this distance of I stay at home all the time and I struggle to leave the house, versus I want to be adventuring. I want to be going places. I feel so alive when I'm hiking. I feel so alive when I'm doing this. That gap between where she's living and where she wants to be living was causing her pain. And so as she's talking through this, I'm, helping her write her affirmations. And so we take the piece that we're struggling with and we flip it, and we honor that piece within the new affirmation. So she was like, seeing her door frame as a barrier. So what I had said to her was, when I look at my door frame, I see it as a window that I step through constantly to experience life fully and to experience joy and laughter and adventure. I see my door frame as the window to my full adventurous life, something like that. And so instantly she had this moment where she was like, what? And now she sees her doorway that way. And we can do this, and we can help our brain shift almost immediately, even immediately, when we learn how to do this skill. So it's an incredible skill, and I highly recommend that you work on it. Now, like I said, you still need to be doing the internal framework work, because if you don't do that and you just try and skip to this affirmations, it's not going to be helpful. Your brain needs to do the internal framework work in order to let go of the beliefs that you've been stuck in. So you need to do both parts. You can do them at the same time, absolutely, but you want to make sure that you're paying attention to both pieces. You want to have a clear understanding of why you're doing what you're doing and why you're still stuck, and why you've been stuck. And then we want to have a clear idea of future self and what she does and who he is and how they are living. So I'm going to check in the comments to see if you have any questions. Probably the first time that you do this, you're going to need somebody to kind of walk you through how to write an affirmation for yourself, which is totally fine. That's what I'm here for. Some of you might just hear this and know and kind of grasp it already and be able to run with that. But for a lot of people, you're going to need somebody to walk through this with you. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for those of you who are ready to take on this part, because it's really life-changing. So when you work through your list, you're going to write these sentences, and I'm kind of pulling these out of like just out of my out of the air right now of things that I've been thinking about. But you're going to do this really consciously. You're going to think about, like, where have I been stuck? What do I want to be? How do I want to be living? And then when you are recording your voice memo, you want to really be feeling what it feels like. You want to put yourself in the mind space of future self, and you want to feel the words as you're saying them. You want to be experiencing that feeling that you would be having if those words were true. So if you are saying it from the perspective of current self and you're like, oh, I love eating plants, but you don't really love eating plants, or oh, I love taking myself on adventures, but you can hear the timidness in your voice and you can hear that that's a lie in your voice. You can feel it as you say it. Your brain is too smart for that. So you have to really center yourself and get into this place where you're like, I am the me. I am the future version of me who has already done this work. And I can imagine what it's like to be standing on the edge of that lake and looking out and feeling proud of myself for taking myself on this adventure. I can feel the deliciousness of that moment. And from that feeling is where you speak that affirmation. From that feeling of looking in your fridge and seeing all those plants in your fridge and feeling so good about choosing to nourish yourself, feel that feeling and then speak the affirmation. So when you're recording it, that's quite important, because when you listen to it, you are going to be hearing it as a thought, right? And when you hear your thoughts now, they feel true. So it's really important. Like when you say, gosh, I'm such an idiot. Why did I forget that? Or God, I'm such a bad mom. I can't believe I just said that to her. That is full of emotion. It's full of truth. Now it's not true, but it feels true. It's full of that truth feeling, right? And so when you are creating your affirmations, you want to make sure that it's full of truth. You want to hear the truth in that statement because it's so important. So you want to put yourself in that place where you are fully yes to what you're saying, fully yes to what you're saying. And you're tuned in to the feeling of that life and that moment where you have done it. And that's how you speak your affirmations. You're going to listen to them every night or every morning, right before you fall asleep, the last thing you do, or the first thing you do when you wake up. And you just listen to it, listen to it and listen to it. And you're basically asking you're programming your brain with a new set of beliefs about who you are. But it's the most honest version of the beliefs because we've closed that gap between where you're living and where you want to be living. So you're programming your mind to help you achieve what you want to achieve. So that's the topic for today. I hope you can feel my excitement. I got so fired up because I finally had a client who was like at the place where she was like ready to sort of do that work. So I'm sure that there are some of you who are in this group who are ready to do that. And yes, so ask me any questions that you have. And if you're watching this on the replay, just put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. You can also email me. You have my information. And I will talk to you soon. I'll see you guys. Some of you I'll see this afternoon. Some of you I'll see Wednesday morning. And take care of yourselves. Be tender to yourselves as you're doing this difficult work, as you're doing this incredible work. It's sometimes difficult. It's sometimes joyful. It is always incredible, but it is challenging. So be gentle to yourself as you are doing it. And I will see you soon. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.